You don't need a business full of expensive tools. When you think about all the things people say you need to start an online business, you may wonder, how am I ever supposed to afford all of this? You need a website. You need an email marketing system. You need expensive software. You need professional graphics. You need video equipment. You need automation. You need analytics. And apparently, you also need about 20 different subscriptions. Well, I'd like to tell you something that I wish I had heard when I was getting started. You do not need all of that. In fact, spending too much money on tools before you've even made your first dollar can actually make starting an online business harder. Therefore, today we're going to simplify things. I'm going to walk you through the essential tools you actually need to get started, and just as importantly, I'm going to talk about some of the expensive things you can skip in the beginning. Because when you're starting out, your goal isn't to build a huge, complicated business. Your goal is to build a simple business that works. You can always add more tools later as your business grows. So if you're feeling overwhelmed by all the software, subscriptions, and gadgets you're seeing online, stick with me. Because by the end of this video, you'll have a much clearer idea of what you actually need. Let's start with the most important tool. The first thing we'll start with is something that doesn't cost you anything at all. Your idea. I know that sounds obvious, but hear me out. A lot of beginners start with the tools instead of the business. They spend hours comparing website builders. They research email marketing platforms. They look at expensive microphones. They buy graphic design software. And before they know it, they've spent hundreds of dollars, but they still don't know exactly what they're selling. That's backwards. Your business should come first. The tools should support your business, they shouldn't become the business. So before you spend money on anything, ask yourself a few simple questions. What am I offering? Who am I helping? What problem am I solving? And how will my business make money? Once you have those answers, choosing your tools becomes much easier. Tool number 1. A place to build your online presence. Now let's talk about your website. Do you absolutely need a website to start an online business? Not always. It depends on your business model. For example, if you're selling products through an established marketplace, you may be able to start without your own website. If you're offering services, you could potentially start by using a simple social media presence and a professional contact method. But for many online businesses, having your own website is extremely valuable. Your website gives people somewhere to learn about you, understand what you offer, and take the next step. And here's the important part. Your website does not need to be fancy. It doesn't need animations everywhere. It doesn't need 20 different pages, and it definitely doesn't need to look like a major corporation spent $50,000 designing it. When you're starting out, you need a website that is clear, easy to navigate, mobile-friendly, professional-looking, and focused on helping your visitor. That's it. Your first website is not supposed to be perfect, it's supposed to be useful. You can improve it as your business grows. Tool number 2, a reliable email address. Here's another simple one that people sometimes overlook. You need a professional way for people to contact you. Ideally, this should be connected to your business rather than using an old personal email address that you've had since high school. Something simple and professional can make a big difference, and again, don't overcomplicate this. You don't need a complicated communication system when you're just starting. You simply need a reliable way for customers, potential customers, and business contacts to reach you. Tool number 3, an email list. Now we're getting into something that can become extremely important as your business grows. Email marketing. If you're building an online business, I strongly recommend starting an email list as early as you reasonably can, because social media followers aren't the same thing as an audience you can reach directly. Social media platforms can change their algorithms. Your reach can go up or your reach can go down, but when someone willingly gives you their email address, you've created a direct connection. The best part is, you don't need thousands of subscribers. You can start with 10, 20, 50, then 100. The important thing is to start building that relationship. You can offer something useful in exchange for someone's email address. Maybe it's a checklist, a short guide, a printable, a mini course, or any helpful resource that is related to your business. This is another area where beginners often overspend. You do not need the most expensive email marketing platform available. Start with a service that gives you the features you actually need. As your list grows and your needs become more advanced, you can upgrade. I use System.io. It's free for the first 2,000 subscribers, By that time, you will be making enough money that you can pay the monthly fee. The link is in the description. Don't pay for 20 features when you only need a couple. The tools that can save you time. Now let's talk about some tools that can make running your business easier. This is where things can get interesting because there are thousands of online business tools available. Some are incredibly useful. Others, well, let's just say you probably don't need them yet. Tool number 4, a simple design tool. If you're creating social media posts, thumbnails, PDFs, lead magnets, presentations, or other visual content, a simple design tool can be incredibly helpful. You don't need to be a professional graphic designer, you don't need to learn complicated design software, and you don't need to hire someone every time you want to create a simple graphic. A beginner-friendly design platform can give you templates and simple drag-and-drop tools. That's often enough. The key here is to choose one tool and learn how to use it. You don't need 3 different design subscriptions, and you don't need to constantly chase the newest design platform. Pick one that does what you need, and use it. Tool number 5. A way to create content. Depending on your business model, content may become one of your biggest marketing tools. That could mean blog posts, YouTube videos, Pinterest content, social media posts, emails, podcasts, or educational resources. And here's where I'd encourage you to think about what you're naturally comfortable creating. If you enjoy writing, blogging might be a good fit. If you enjoy talking, video might be a better option. If you love creating visual content, platforms such as Pinterest may make sense. You don't need to master every platform. In fact, trying to be everywhere at once is one of the easiest ways to burn yourself out. Choose 1 or 2 places where your audience is likely to spend time, then create useful content consistently. Tool number 6, basic organization. This one sounds incredibly simple. But trust me, organization is a tool, and it's one that doesn't need to cost you much money, if any at all. You need somewhere to keep track of your ideas, your content, your passwords, your expenses, your goals, your tasks, and your business plans. This could be a spreadsheet, a simple notes app, calendar, a project management tool, or even a notebook. Yes, I said that, a notebook. You don't need an expensive productivity system to become organized, you just need a system you'll actually use. I've seen people spend more time setting up elaborate productivity systems than they spend actually working on their business, and that's not helping anyone. Me, I just use folders on my computer and then back them up regularly. It can't get any simpler than that. Now let's talk about something you probably don't need. Let's get to the part that I think many beginners need to hear. There are a lot of things people will tell you that you must have before you start, and sometimes that's simply not true. You don't need expensive computer equipment. If you already have a reasonably good computer that can handle the work you're doing, use it. You don't need the newest laptop, you don't need a top-of-the-line desktop, and you certainly don't need to go into debt buying technology because someone online told you that successful entrepreneurs use it. If your current computer lets you write, create content, manage your website, communicate with customers, and run all the programs you need, then you're good. Upgrade when your business actually requires it, not because you feel like you need to look successful. You don't need an expensive camera. This one is especially important if you're thinking about YouTube. You may see creators with beautiful studios, professional cameras, expensive lighting, and elaborate microphones, and it can be tempting to think, I need all of that before I can make videos. You don't. If you're comfortable appearing on camera, a modern smartphone can often produce perfectly usable video, and if you're creating a faceless channel, you may not even need a camera at all. What matters most is the value of what you're saying. A $2,000 camera cannot fix a boring video, and an expensive microphone cannot fix content that doesn't help your audience. Focus on the message first. Upgrade your equipment later. Where beginners often waste money. Now let's talk about some of the biggest money traps I see beginners falling into. And please don't feel bad if you've already made one of these mistakes. You're probably not the only one. I think most entrepreneurs have spent money on something they later realized they didn't really need. The important thing is learning from it. Money trap number 1. Buying too many software subscriptions. This is a big one. You find a tool that looks amazing, then another one, then another, and suddenly you're paying monthly subscriptions for 10 different programs. But how many are you actually using? Before paying for a subscription, ask yourself, what problem does this solve? And then ask, do I have that problem right now? If the answer is no, don't buy it. Bookmark it, you can always come back later. Money trap number 2, buying every course you see. Courses can be helpful. There are some wonderful courses available online. But you do not need to buy every course from every person who promises to show you how to make money online, especially when you're just getting started. You can spend months learning and never actually build anything. At some point, you need to stop consuming information and start putting what you've learned into practice. Remember this: you don't need more information as much as you need action. First, you learn something, then try it, see what happens, adjust where needed. Then learn what you need next. That's a much healthier way to build a business. So what do you actually need? Let's make this really simple. If you're starting an online business today, your basic toolkit might look something like this. You need a clear business idea. You need a way to communicate with your audience. You may need a simple website or online storefront. You'll likely want an email list. You need a way to create your content. You need a simple way to stay organized, and you need a willingness to learn and take action. That's your foundation. Not 20 different subscriptions, not expensive equipment, not a fancy office, not a perfect logo, and not a huge budget. Your business will grow with you. And here's something I really want you to remember. Your business doesn't have to look like a successful business on day one. It only needs to be the beginning of one. You can start small, just learn as you go. You can always improve on your website later. You can upgrade your computer and invest in better software later. You can even hire help when you need to or automate things later. Right now, your biggest investment should be your time, your effort, and your willingness to keep learning. Because the goal isn't to spend money to feel like you're building a business. The goal is to actually build the business. So, before you pull out your credit card and start buying every online business tool you see, stop for a minute, take a breath, and ask yourself, what do I actually need right now? Not 6 months from now, not when my business has thousands of customers, not when I'm making 6 figures. Right now. Start with the basics, build something useful, get it in front of people, listen to your audience, make improvements, and then when your business begins to grow, invest in tools that solve real problems. Because there's a big difference between investing in your business and simply spending money on your business. And I want you to learn that difference early. If you're building your first online business, you don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to take the next step, and sometimes, the smartest business decision you can make is deciding what not to buy. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe to the channel because we're continuing this series step by step. We're taking the online business journey and breaking it down into simple, manageable pieces so you don't have to feel overwhelmed. And remember, you don't need a business full of expensive tools to get started. You need a simple plan, the right tools for where you are right now, and the courage to actually begin. I'll see you in the next video.